So this is Samruth Bush. This is the spot where the French general lost his head, allegedly. I don't know how many incarnations this bush has gone through in the last 300 years, but nevertheless it remains here as a marker of where the French general had his head blown off. Anyone that knows anything about Okram always seems to refer to the fact that, yeah, the Jacobite commander had his head blown off here. It's the kind of story that sticks. There's another story that's grown up around the events kind of surrounding his death, and that is that when the Jacobites were first coming through, they acquired some sheep from a local farmer, but forgot to pay him. So the farmer then went looking for compensation for his sheep at the Jacobite camp and was told, no, and was laughed out of the camp. So he then went to the Williamite camp and he said that he had seen the French general and that he would be able to point him out on the battlefield, which he did, and the rest, as they say, is history. There's the other story as well that Samru was dressed to the nines on the day of the battle and was on a white horse, so he was very easy to pick out on the battlefield. I don't know whether it's accurate to say that this was an aimed shot. I think there was a fair bit of luck involved in the Williamite gunner being able to hit him at this distance. The gunner himself was apparently awarded the title the Dean of Rathfoe for his part in the battle. The story goes that they were having trouble propping up the gun that fired the shot, and he took off his boot and propped up the wheel that way so the gun was able to fire. A popular toast then of the time was to the heel of the boot of the Dean of Rathfoe. Such was the kind of the legend that came around about this. If we look through the gap in the trees there, you can kind of just about see Orocree Hill. I'm not sure how well that's coming up on the camera, but it shows you the kind of distance between the two hills. There's really not a lot in it. It's just over a kilometre between the two, and the whole stretch in between there would have been really easy to see. There would have been less trees at the time, so you would definitely been able to see the movement of the troops, everything. This is an absolutely ideal spot for a commander to be perched in. We know that after Samru's death, things fell apart pretty quickly. Up until this point, the Jacobites had been fighting a defensive battle. Every move that they made was kind of counter to something else, so there was no plan as such. People are often quite mean, I suppose, to Samruth, and say that, he didn't leave a plan, he messed the whole thing up, if only he'd appointed someone second in command. Now, his second in command, Detese, was in the middle of the fighting. So when the general lost his head here, there was very little he could do, and there's supposed to be great confusion amongst the troops. We know that his body was kind of wrapped in a cloak and taken away to be buried somewhere. We still don't know exactly where. So yeah, this is the part of the battle really where it all starts beginning to go to hell in a handbasket. If the general here hadn't lost his head, who knows what would have happened. Yeah, it's a key point of the battle, and again, I definitely recommend coming this far at least, just to get a sense of the battlefield itself. So we'll carry on now and keep moving.